In this video, I will explain how you can get a Band 7 for Writing Task 2. I will also show you the answer key that all examiners use when marking your essay. This will help you understand exactly what the examiner is looking for. Now, let's begin. Hi there, this is Mr. Brick from IELTS Mr. Brick, and on this channel we cover everything IELTS related. That includes tips, tricks and tutorials to help you get a high score in the IELTS exam. Now, let's get started. So let me break this down. There are 4 categories that you are assessed by. For each category, you need to fulfill 3 different requirements. That means altogether you need to fulfill 12 things for you to get a Band 7 for Writing Task 2. Now we will go through each one of those 12 criterias, and I will leave timestamps in the description below so you can navigate to any section you want if you don't want to watch the full video. So the 4 categories are Task Achievement, Coherence and Cohesion, Lexical Resource and Grammatical Range and Accuracy. Now you will be assessed for each of these areas individually. That means you can score a Band 7 for a Task Achievement, score a Band 6 in Coherence and Cohesion, and score a Band 5 for the other 2. And then your overall score is an average of all 4 areas. So let's begin by looking at the first category and looking at what exactly you need to do to fulfill all 3 different requirements for category 1, and that is Task Achievement. So the first section is called Task Achievement. The rubric here, as you can see, asks you to address all parts of the task. This means that if you are answering an advantage and disadvantages question, for example, you must talk about both sides of the discussion and also give your opinion. Okay, this is an area which many people forget about. If you only address the advantages and disadvantages but don't give your opinion, then you would not have achieved this aspect of a Band 7. So again, to clarify, you need to fulfill all areas of this task. Now the second part of Task Achievement is that you need to present a clear position throughout the response. The response basically means your answer. Now that means if you are in paragraph 2, the body paragraph, and you are talking about the advantages in this paragraph, you should only talk about the advantages here. Don't mix and match. Don't talk about the advantages and then a little bit about the disadvantages in this paragraph. Make it clear. Only talk about one thing per paragraph. So in this case, the advantages. And this goes for all the paragraphs in the essay. So again, for paragraph 3, where you would talk about the disadvantages, then you don't want to add some advantages here. Now more importantly, when they ask you for a clear position, this should be explicitly shown in the conclusion paragraph where you will share your opinion. So when you do share your opinion, you want to be precise, straight to the point. You can do this by saying I'm just going to give an example here. So you can do this by saying the advantages clearly outweigh the disadvantages, and then give one example from your advantages paragraph. So what you don't want to do is say, well, the advantages are strong and the disadvantages are also strong, so it's an equal argument. You want to be clear and say that one side is clearly stronger than the other side of the argument. By the end of the essay, you need to come to a clear outcome, a clear conclusion. Now, the next thing you need to do for the Task Achievement category is present, extend and support your main ideas. Now, it does say that although you do need to include supporting ideas, the supporting ideas don't need to be clear. So first of all, what is a supporting idea? Well, a supporting idea is, again, I'm just going to use the advantages and disadvantages example, and I'll probably use that throughout the essay. So just say you are talking about an advantage. An advantage of traveling abroad is that you can learn a new language. So that's your advantage. Now you want to support that idea. The way you can do that is by giving an example. Okay, so an example of this is, and then add your example, or you can just add some statistics. That's a very easy way. So you can just add recent studies have shown that those who travel tend to learn languages faster. I mean, I've just made that example up, but you get the idea. You've given your example and you've supported it with another sentence. Now, to summarize this section, we've broken down the 3 things for task achievement, and they are address all parts of the task, present a clear position throughout the essay, and present, extend and support the main ideas. Now let's move on to the second category, and to be honest with you, this is probably the easiest category to get your marks, and that is coherence and cohesion. Now, although it is very easy to score marks in this area, from my experience of marking essays, this is also the area where students lose marks the quickest. So please observe this area in great detail. So here the answer key, or the rubric, asks us to logically organize information and ideas. This basically means, is everything in the right place? Have you used 4 paragraphs? Does each paragraph has its own purpose? So for example, you need to include an introduction, a body 1 paragraph, body 2 and conclusion. Your body 1 and body 2 will vary depending on the question you get asked. So if it's problem and solution, then body 1 will be problem and body 2 will be solution. The same way, if you are given a discussion essay, an agree or disagree, 1 paragraph is used for why you agree, and the second paragraph should be used for why you or people might disagree. So fairly straightforward. Now the second thing we need to do here to achieve a band 7 in the coherence section is use a range of cohesive devices. This is probably the one area which I focus on the most when I teach my students. This is where you can get the easiest marks. So cohesive devices basically means words that link sentences or even paragraphs together. For example, if you are talking about the disadvantages of using technology, then you can start off by saying, well, one of the disadvantages is, talk about it, add your supporting sentence, an example, then say additionally, and then talk about the second example. So here can you see the word additionally? That is a cohesive device. So things such as firstly, secondly, thirdly, although they are basic cohesive devices. Other examples include moreover, in addition, additionally, furthermore. Another cohesive device which I want you to always use is the term however. So if you've talked about your advantages, now when you move on to the next paragraph, the disadvantages, just start off with the word however. So however, there are also many disadvantages. Straightforward. So you've connected the 2 paragraphs. Now the final requirement to achieve a band 7 for the second category is present a clear central topic within each paragraph. So we've kind of touched on this, but just to clarify, does every paragraph has its own purpose? So in the introduction, you should only be introducing things. You don't necessarily need to give your examples of advantages or disadvantages here. So in the introduction, only introduce the essay. The next paragraph, only talk about one aspect of the question, advantages, or why you agree, or the problems. And then the next paragraph, talk about the opposite side of the argument. And finally, the conclusion. Here you should talk about the outcome, be clear, be precise, and keep it simple. No need to go over the top here. So to summarize this section, if you want to get a band 7 for section 2, you need to logically organize information and ideas, use a range of cohesive devices, and present a clear central topic within each paragraph. Now let's move on to the third section, and that is lexical resource. That might be a word that you've never heard of. All it means is your range of vocabulary. Are you using a wide range of vocabulary? So the first requirement here to fulfill this section is use a sufficient range of vocabulary to allow some flexibility and precision. That already sounds complicated, so let me break that down in basic terms. So all that's asking you to do here is just use a wide range of vocabulary. Now the way to do this is just simply use synonyms. Let me give you an example. So by now you've probably tired of the word advantages because I've mentioned it so many times. This is how the examiner might feel when they're marking your essay and you use the same words. So you want to use different words. So again, if you're talking about the advantages, don't you repeat this word over and over again, but rather use synonyms such as the benefits, the pros, another positive aspect. By using these synonyms, it shows the examiner that you have a wide range of vocabulary. Now, when it talks about flexibility and precision, That basically means the more words you know, the more accurate you can be. If you're just stuck with one word, you're limited to its functions. Now the next thing here is to use less common lexical items with some awareness of style and collocation. Now this area is very similar to the previous aspects we just looked at. To fulfill this requirement here, you just need to use words that are less common in the English language. So they don't need to be too difficult. They can just be other synonyms. So for example, instead of using the word and, you could just use furthermore or moreover or additionally. So as you can probably see, some of these kind of intertwine with each other. Also, by using these type of words, it shows the examiner that you are confident when using these lexical items. Now the final requirement to achieve a Band 7 for Lexical Resource is you may produce occasional errors in word choice, spelling and word formation. So here, what that means is that the examiner is actually allowing you to make some mistakes. So if you do make a few mistakes here and there, it's okay. However, what you don't want to do is fall in the habit of making the same mistake over and over again. This is what's going to cost you. So here, there's nothing that you need to do, but rather is just letting the examiner know that when they're marking your essay, that if you do make a few mistakes here and there, it's okay. Now, to summarize the lexical resource section, for you to get a Band 7 here, you need to use a sufficient range of vocabulary to allow some flexibility and precision, use less common lexical items, and also you are allowed to make the occasional error in word choice, spelling, or word formation. Now, before we get into this, if you're benefiting from this video, please hit that like button, because if you do, then YouTube will share our video with more people. And also click subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let's continue. Okay, so the final aspect that we will look at is grammatical range and accuracy. So the first thing you need to do here is use a variety of complex structures. So that just means you use complex sentences. You want to use a range of complex sentences. So there's many different types of sentences that you can use, and you want to mix and match. You don't want to use lengthy sentences throughout. If you can, use a simple sentence here and there, mix it up with a few complex sentences. This will keep the reader interested, and it will also keep your writing less boring. Now, if you're struggling with understanding what a complex sentence is, the easiest way to understand it is just to link two sentences together by merging them so they become one sentence. An example of this is iPads can be expensive to buy. Full stop. So that's one sentence. Then just explain why. So iPads can be expensive because they are made from high quality materials. Now the next aspect of grammatical range and accuracy is have good control of grammar and punctuation, but you can make a few errors. So here, a good example to talk about is the complex sentences we were just talking about. When you're using them, are you missing out the commas when needed? If you are missing them out here and there, it's okay. So again, the examiner is being lenient with you. They're allowing you to make a few mistakes. In regard to the grammatical errors, common mistakes here would include using the correct article before a noun. So for example, we would say an apple. So an apple, an orange, an umbrella. But we wouldn't say an table, we would say a table, okay? I don't want to get too much into this and make this into a grammar lesson, but I'm sure you get the idea. Now that brings us to the end of this video, and if you want to watch me write out a full Band 9 Writing Task 2 answer, then please click the link somewhere here. And if you have any questions, please write them below and I will try my best to answer every single question. Have a good day and don't forget to subscribe.